As there has been a request for something from the Scottish play, I'm going to offer these two speeches from Acts 1 and 2. Both are delivered by the protagonist. If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could trammel up the consequence, and catch with his surcease success, that for this blow might be the be-all and the end-all here. But here upon this bank and shoal of time will jump the life to come. But in these cases we still have judgment here, that we but teach bloody instructions, which being taught return to our own lips. He's here in double trust. First, as I am his kinsman, and his subject, strong both against the deed. Then, as his host, who should against the murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne his faculties so meek, hath been so clear in his great office, that his virtues will plead like angels trumpet-tongued against the deep damnation of his taking off. In pity, like a naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim, horsed upon the sightless couriers of the air, shall blow the horrid deed in every eye. The tears shall drown the wind. I have no spur to prick the side of my intent, but only vaulting ambition, which o'erleaps itself and falls upon the other. So it seems our hero isn't quite sure of his course. Should he kill Duncan? Should he take off this saintly old man just because a witch said he'd one day be king? No, he decides he shouldn't do that. Then his wife comes in and talks him into it. Being king would be nice, she says. Lady Macbeth as Eve holding out the apple to a reluctant Adam, you might say. So he changes his mind again and decides to go ahead with the plot, leading a few minutes later to this speech. Is this a dagger which I see before me, the handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. Have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not, fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat-oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshalst me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade indulgent gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is this bloody business which informs thus to mine eye. Now all the one-half world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarum by his sentinel, the wolf who howls his watch, thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides toward his design moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabout. And take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whilst I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven, or to hell. For the sake of history, I feel I should point out that this entire play is essentially Stuart propaganda. Duncan wasn't elderly, or saintly, or Macbeth's guest when he died. In fact, he died in battle leading an army against Macbeth, who then went on to rule for 17 mostly uneventful years, bar having to beat back an English invasion in 1054, before himself being killed in battle in 1057. So why did Shakespeare make him the villain? Well, Macbeth wasn't King James's multi-great-grandfather. Duncan and Malcolm were. Draw your own conclusions.